This is a continuation of Starcraft 2 Heart of the Swarm campaign, No Production Challenge. Last time, we just finished Char, so let's go to Xeris next. The next mission is Waking the Ancient. My army is Kerrigan, a Queen, and 4 Mutalisks. The mission objective is Harvest 7 Quilgor. I easily get the first 4 Quilgor, but a large group of enemies blocks my path. I lure some away with my Mutalisks and fight them in small groups. My Mutalisks fly, and these enemies can't hit flying units, so this part is easy. When I gather the final Quilgor, the enemy sends a large flock of Primal Mutalisks and Primal Guardians against me. I barely beat them, and then I don't finish the delivery. Quilgor doesn't spoil, right? The enemies start sending some large armies against me. I can't justify the risk of my army here, so Kerrigan must fight them alone.
Let's get this over with.
But it's fine.
Push ahead.
Kerrigan can kite them and burrow.
The swarm never
The enemies
rests.
don't have any detection here, so I'm
This
fine.
world is mine.
Enemies are scattered around the map, and they
Yes?
could be annoying, so I kill
Get
them.
going.
This is a slow process, but it's not like I have a time limit or anything that could spoil. I grab the first bonus objective, and I continue massacring the natives. When I'm satisfied with my territory, I deliver the final Quilgor. When Barak attacks, I blast a Guardian and burrow. I let him pass, and now I'm behind them,
There's not
so I
much
can
time.
blast a Primal Hydralis.
Get going.
But they're faster than
swarm
me,
never rests.
so I need a distraction. I had some
Nothing
Overlords
stands in my way.
in position so that Kerrigan can blast another Guardian and burrow again. I left my uprooted Spore Crawler and drones as another distraction. This way, I can blast 2 more Primal Guardians before I let the enemies proceed.
In my way.
Kerrigan is very injured,
Yes?
but I can heal her with the
You
final
have my
bonus
attention.
objective.
This essence is so
Since Kerrigan
alive.
used
I
the
think I
detour
like it.
claiming the bonus objective, Barak arrives at my main base before Kerrigan does. My army is waiting and distracts them and even kills 2 Primal Hydralisks. Then
get this
Kerrigan
over with.
comes in, blasts the Primal
swarm
Guardian
never
and runs
rests.
away.
Things stand in my
Kerrigan
way.
returns, blasts the last Primal Guardian,
There's not much
and
time.
now the enemy only has melee units.
The swarm
So
hungers.
Kerrigan attacks Barak,
Get going.
burrows, and
You
repeats.
have my attention. Nothing.
Eventually, I kill Barak and finish the mission. Next mission is the Crucible. I don't get Kerrigan here, so I reduce the difficulty from brutal to casual, and it's still the most difficult mission yet. The mission objective is defend this egg. I get some swarm hosts for this mission, and normally swarm hosts can produce locust for free. But this is a no production challenge, so I'm not producing any locust. Instead, my swarm hosts surround the objective, and my drones fill in the gap, and they all hold position. I have some spine and spore crawlers and a queen for my main defense, and I have 3 Mutalisks as my mobile army. The beginning of the mission's not too bad, until the enemy comes from multiple sides simultaneously. I leave my crawlers and queen on one side, and send my Mutalisks to the other side. There they can harass the enemies before they approach. When the stragglers reach the pool, they are very confused. They can see the objective, but they can't reach it because it's surrounded, so instead they run laps while my Mutalisks finish them. When the enemies aren't around, I reposition my crawlers and prepare for the next group. This is my last big break before the end of the mission, so I also rearrange my drones and swarm hosts around the objective. The plan is that the Primal Ultralisk will run right into range of my spine crawlers, perhaps with some encouragement from my queen, while my Mutalisk will kill the enemy ranged units. My Overlords and Swarm hosts are dying, but they absorb damage and help keep my important stuff alive. I continue this a while longer, but eventually the enemies are just too strong, and they start overwhelming my spine crawlers. My mutalisks help, and I prioritize killing the enemy's long-ranged units. If the objective's already surrounded, more melee units won't really matter. And now, my mutalisks abandon my spine crawlers. I prioritize killing any ranged unit that's attacking the egg. The egg is somewhat bulky, and it's already surrounded by melee units, but if too many ranged units attack it, I'll lose. And my spine crawlers acted as a fine distraction while they died. With only my mutalisks remaining for defense, I'm just relying upon the remaining hit points on the egg, and hoping that I can kill or distract enough of the enemy range units. If they attack my mutalisks, I'm actually happy about it now. We're so close to the end of the mission that absorbing damage is just as good as killing the enemies. So I let my mutalisks die so that the damage doesn't hit the egg, and it just barely survives until the end of the mission. After this, we're back to brutal difficulty. Next mission is Supreme, where Kerrigan becomes overpowered. With new abilities and more energy regeneration, my hero can complete most missions alone. Next mission is Harvest of Screams. It's an easy mission, but also a good demonstration of Kerrigan's new abilities. Sonic Shift is a short dash that deals damage in an area. Mend heals Kerrigan, and I still have Kinetic Blast, which deals damage to a single target. This doesn't even feel like a challenge anymore. Next mission is Shoot the Messenger. Kerrigan dashes across the enemy base and destroys the first shuttle. It spawned from a launch bay, so Kerrigan destroys that too. The enemy can't attack my base if Kerrigan kills their units as soon as they leave their base. The next launch bay is too well defended, so I blast the detectors and burrow. The enemies can't see me and go away. Then I unburrow and destroy the bay. Next, I get the first bonus objective and chase the second shuttle. Then Kerrigan beats some pesky enemies and claims the remaining bonus objective. I destroy a third shuttle, then I dash in, blast the last launch bay, and dash out, and repeat until I win. Next mission is Enemy Within. I don't get Kerrigan here, so I reduce the difficulty from brutal to normal. My hero for this mission is Niadra. The beginning is easy, but then Niadra is stuck and can't fit in this vent. I don't know another way around, and this might actually not be possible with only Niadra. So I make some Zerglings, but they're only doing the minimum amount necessary. They just destroy the generator and then die. Niadra beats the enemies in the next room, but then I'm stuck behind another tube, so I do the same thing again. I make Zerglings, they destroy the generator and die without doing anything extra. Niadra destroys the warp drive and must escape before it explodes. So she runs away, but then a force field blocks her path, so she burrows and waits. Eventually, the sentry depletes its energy and can't maintain the force field, so Niadra escapes. Some zealots followed me while I escaped, and more were waiting for me in the next room. But luckily, Niadra has good hit point regeneration and can burrow, so I can beat them easily enough. In the next room, several units are waiting in stasis, and they come out much faster than Niadra can kill them. So I run away. I bring them to this room with a big hole in the floor. Since the enemies are mostly zealots, I can kite them and run around in circles. It's slow, but effective. The next room is way too scary for Niadra. So I run past. and claim my friend, the giant Ursidon. The Ursidon is much stronger than Niadra. It deals excellent damage and is quite bulky. It also can stun enemies with its ability Leap. But the Ursidon is armored, and these enemies deal bonus versus armored. The Immortal is especially scary, so Niadra breaks its shield so the Ursidon can kill it. The remaining enemies aren't too scary, but we're quite injured, so we run away. This lets us wait for Leap's cooldown, and spend a bit more time regenerating our hit points. The Ursidon's almost dead, but Niadra still has some hit points, so she takes the damage. Then, Niadra runs away and lets the Ursidon finish the fight. After the fight, we wait and regenerate our hit points. The next fight is easy, with the Ursidon blocking the doorway. Niadra can just barely destroy the first escape pod and this pylon without alerting the Protoss, but after that, they start launching the remaining escape pods. The Protoss don't like what we're doing to their shuttles, so they come and intervene. We beat most of them easily, but I must be careful against this Immortal. If we're too slow, the escape pods will launch and we lose, but the timer is quite long, so we're fine. We target the final escape pod, then we flee. Without a time limit, the rest of the mission is easy. We destroy the remaining Protoss and win the mission.